Hey, what's up, guys? Thank you for tuning in for another episode of Casually Christian presented by Livestream My Event. For those of you who are joining us for the first time, Casually Christian is a show we talk about people's lives, their interests, and their passions. So if you like our content, please remember to hit like and subscribe and smash that notification bell to catch our latest episodes of Casually Christian. So recently, one of my former coworkers, he DM'd me, and he asked me if I wanted to be interviewed for a book that he's developing. So I couldn't pass out the chance. I think that would make a great conversation for our show today. So you want to know a little bit more about me and what's going on with my life and, my queer story. This is the great show for that. So with that said, please joining us today is AJ Yang, right? But you go by Wes, right? Wesley,
yeah,
right?
I go by Wes.
Which one do you prefer? Oh, which is
really doesn't matter. AJ was like my kind of traveling name when I was like living in Hawaii, and then Wes is like more my professional name.
I see.
So people at work call me Wes, but like people at who know me from my travels call me AJ.
Yeah, from long ago, huh? It's like, hey, AJ.
Yeah.
Hey, man. So, what have you been up to since? Because we worked at this place. I can't drop the name, but we worked together, and I got fired because my boss was a real. See you next Tuesday. So, what have you been up to since? Because we worked together back in 2015, I think.
2013.
13?
Yeah.
Jesus Christ. What have you been up to since then? I mean, I read your posts, but I want to know where you've been working at, if you've been going out, and then we'll talk about your book.
Well, okay. Well, I went back to grad school, so I went to Mount St. Mary's of in Los Angeles, and it's actually an all-girls school, but because the grad program actually allows co-ed people, or and the undergrad is like anybody who is not cis male can attend. So I feel like Los Angeles is gotten a little more progressive in those terms.
Oh, for sure.
So I went. I did their counseling psychology program, and I did it for 3 years, and then I was at the LGBT Center, the Gay and Lesbian Center in Orange County, and I did my practicum there. And then from there, I worked at a few nonprofits, and after that, I worked for the county of Orange, and then now I'm working for the county of Contra Costa out there.
Oh, cool, man! And as a counselor, or what do you? What's your what did you do in those nonprofits? Were you just like an administrative assistant, or?
I worked with kids, and it was horrible because
F those kids.
I like kids, but my training is to do talk therapy, right?
I see.
So you can't do talk therapy with kids. So basically, I was a glorified babysitter. All I did was
watch them,
like Uno or like toys with them, and I was like, not therapeutic. I'm not having.
I see. Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. It didn't fulfill you.
No.
So you want to. So you want to help people out. Seems like.
Yeah, I want to use my skills, and if I can, definitely use my skills to improve somebody, because I work with the hardest population that there is. So individuals with psychosis, so people who are with schizophrenia, so people who are hallucinating, have visual hallucinations, or are having trouble eating, brushing their teeth, going to bed, and all that. So my job is to help them get A, linked medically, B, seeing a therapist every single week.
Okay. Almost like, I wouldn't say like a nurse, but you take care of them, right? Like you watch out for their mental health.
I watch out for their mental health. Yeah. But not exactly, because a nurse, we actually have nurses that work with our doctors, and what those nurses do, they maybe every month or so they come in and the nurse gives them an injection, because a lot of these people, they won't be med compliant, so they won't take medications, every single day, they'll forget. So an injection will last you 3 months. So you don't have
Yeah.
to take anything for 3 months.
Right on, man. And what motivated you to write a book? Are you writing it right now, or you're just collecting stories? Can you describe, like, can you talk about what you're writing?
Yeah. I'm collecting stories right now, but it's like this. I was reading a book, and I've been reading reading Chicken Soup for the Entrepreneur's Soul, because I was like, man, I need to make a lot of money.
I know, man. I'm like, I know what you mean, dude. Like, that money helps. Yeah, you don't want to be a slave to it, but it makes life really easy.
Yeah. I mean, like, look at you. You're a creative. You have your own podcast. Hey, you know,
Yeah.
that's amazing.
I still have a day job. I work in reverse mortgaging, so it's pretty dry and basic.
So you do like real estate and stuff?
Yeah, I do that, and I try to keep that separately. I don't like my bosses, my peers. I let them know what I'm doing, but my bosses, I try to keep this on the DL, because what if they don't like what I do and then I get fired? So you never know. So I rather just keep that on the down low from the executives, from the executives.
Yeah.
But I do love my job.
Yeah, awesome.
But yeah.
So I was reading the book, and I was like, why is there no chicken soup for the gay soul?
Yeah.
No,
there isn't.
No, well, I did some research, and I couldn't find it anywhere on Amazon.
Yeah.
And turns out Jack Canfield and their company,
Conservative.
They're a nice Christian organization.
I figured.
So they don't really support, people like us.
Yeah.
They don't have stories. They don't have stories for people like us. And I was like, what the heck?
Yeah, you wanted our voices
to be heard.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. Yeah. So I thought, I'm going to write the new chicken soup for the gay soul. So
that's a great idea.
So that's why I contacted you. I was like, I want to interview you and, get your story, get where you're at, you with your partner now. So,
for sure.
And you guys been together for like 20 years.
We've been together for lucky 13 years. Yeah. We bicker with each other, like a old married couple, and but I love him, even though like we have our days, but in the end I cook for him, I watch out for him, and he watches out for me. And the reason like he nags me because he wants me to not hurt myself, because it seems like I'm always doing stuff that I guess he's always watching out for me, and that's the major stuff that's like the I wouldn't say problem, but he just worries about me, and I worry about him too, because he rides his bike to work because he lives about a mile. He works a mile away, and I worry that he's going to get hit by a car, because we live in a very busy intersection. So and I don't know if you know this, but actually we're a throuple too. So we have another boyfriend. We live together with Alex, and we've been together with Alex for 5 years. So it's just not John and me; it's John, Alex, and me.
Wait, how does that work?
Hey, it's a good interview, right? Well, sometimes casual encounters become like lasting relationships. So we just we met him, and he just stayed around, and we enjoyed his company, and then he wanted us to be his boyfriend. And at first, because it's new for me too, I'm like, I never seen a throuple before. I'm not Hugh Hefner. So John and me, we spoke about it, and we both said, like, well, it's not hurting anybody. We didn't approach him to be in our relationship, he approached us, and we were giving it a shot, month to month, and then it became 5 years later, and we're living together in Norwalk, and they're both at work right now. And it's interesting, because sometimes seeing like two people, like seeing my boyfriend interact with Alex, and just seeing like their relationship, it's like watching somebody. Well, I am watching somebody, but it's just like, it's like I'm the spectator on a relationship that I'm part of. It's like when they're fighting or bickering or arguing. I'm like the intermediator, or I'm like and the same with them. You know, if we get into an argument, if I get in an argument with Alex, like John tries to be the intermediator, and that's how that's been. You know, it's been working out for us. And people ask us all the time, like, how do you guys sleep in the same bed? I'm like, yeah, we bought a California king because when we were going out, we were sleeping like on I think like it was like what's like not a twin, a queen, but it was a bed that we were like squished in, and I like my space, you know. When I sleep in like in a fetal position. Yeah, and John, he likes to be spooned, you know, like cuddled, you know. And I can only do it for a little bit, but like Alex, you know, like he hugs them during the night, like the entire night, where like I, you know, go into my little fetal position and go into like dreamland and, you know, do that. So you know, it's good.
Well, I mean, like I'm gonna ask the most
Yeah.
most commonly asked question of people who are in a polyamorous relationship, which is, do you ever get jealous?
Yeah, in the beginning, we did get jealous because it seemed like, you know, like getting more attention from somebody, from the other partner, you know, and then we had to work through it. The important thing is like communication, because if you keep that bottled up inside, it's going to lead into some animosity and resentment. So I was just, you know, I researched it online about, because I didn't know the technical term for my relationship. I thought it was called polygamy, but polygamy is only like the partners sleep with, I guess, the main dude, you know. But with polyamory, being a polyamorous relationship, everyone's just sleeping with everybody. You know, it's like, it's, you know, you could be with them, and like, you know, like it could be separate or all, like in a group, you know. So I didn't know what it was until I started researching, you know, my relationship with, you know, and I read that like 1.9 million people in the world are in a polyamorous relationship. And that's, I mean, there's like billions of people, but you know, millions of people in a polyamorous relationship is still pretty big, you know. It's a big population.
So how do you get married in a polyamorous relationship?
Well, I don't think you can get married in California, but I could be wrong. But I do know, I recently read an article about
Sorry,
that's a motorcycle. It's okay, dude.
there's like some cars.
Don't worry about it. But I read in an article that these three guys in California, they wanted to adopt a child, and they wanted their birth certificate or the adoption certificate to have all three guys. And one of the judges here in California granted that. So they're the first throuple, I would say, in this country. I might be wrong. Wow. That have their name in a legal document for adopting a child. So that happened recently here in California. Whoa. So I guess you could adopt children, but you can't get married. But I can't. You know, I could be wrong. I don't know. I haven't researched yet.
that's legit though. That's so legit. You know.
Yeah.
I mean, like being recognized as like, you know, three parents of one child. That's I think that's really validating.
That's fantastic. Yeah, it is validating, and it's refreshing, because like you always see stories like in the media about like always our community always being like what's called a repressed, or we're always like thrown in the side, like we're not people
like marginalized.
Yeah, marginalized. Thank you. Yeah, like so we're not a real relationship to a lot of people, because we went to Texas a few months ago, and we were at a block party, and you know, I don't hide away about my relationship. And one of the ladies like, "Oh, are you guys friends?" I'm like, "No, these are my two boyfriends." And she made like a conservative face, like a judgmental face, like she's like, I didn't care. I don't even know her. That lady was drunk. But yeah, people have their opinions, but I don't care about their opinions. I love my life, and I love my lifestyle.
Wow, that sounds really awesome, and like I would have said exciting, but and maybe it is still exciting for you, but like, you know, based on like what you said, sounds like a really working and like loving relationship, plural, that you have with your two partners.
Yeah.
So,
and it was
cool.
And it was interesting coming out. It's like we were coming out again, you know, like, oh, we have another boyfriend. We were introducing him to our families. and they didn't really consider Alex part of our relationship in the beginning because it was odd for everybody. It was odd for me too. It's like, hey, I gotta, we were hanging out in the kickback, and I spoke to my brother because we were, drunk. I'm like liquid courage. So like, hey, we were seeing somebody else, and we're gonna bring him by next weekend. His name is Alex, and it's like they were tripping out. It's like, what's going on? And it's been 5 years we've been together, and now they always ask about him. My dad's always asking about Alex. So where's Alex? How is he doing? Like my dad really like took to him for some reason. I don't know. He was like he's always chatting him up every time he comes down to my parents' house. And Alex, we met his parents too. So this year was the first year that we were invited from to Alex family's party, like for like birthday parties or Christmas, New Year stuff. So this Thanksgiving, it was a first for me and first for John. It was first for all of us. We went to all our family's house on Thanksgiving Day. We went to my house, my mom's house, my John's family's house, and then Alex's house. And I thought that was really cool that I have two families now, and they know me. And Alex's dad, he seems like a tough guy because he's Mexican, but he warmed up to us, and he's always asking us if we want something to drink, how we're doing, and all that stuff. So I'm glad that our families are accepting, and it could have been totally not the case, and I'm very fortunate.
I think that's a big deal for your family to be accepting of your lifestyle and your choices. But I also want to ask, like, you don't appear, stereotypically gay.
Because I get marginalized a lot. Everybody thinks that I'm married, I have kids, I have a 401k. I'm like, all that shit sounds ridiculous.
Yeah.
I know, man. And when I was working at another job, the ladies are like, "Oh, did your wife make you dinner? Oh, you must be a great dad, and they're asking me, like, what'd you do with your wife this weekend? And I'm like, I don't have a wife. I don't have a ring, They're always asking me, and I do get marginalized a lot. And sometimes it really depends on the person who I come out to, because it sucks for being like gay that we're always have to come out all the time. Like you just can't relax, It's always being like when you grow up, who you sleep with, I guess, is a big deal. It's like, I'm always coming out of the closet. And it really depends on the person that I come out to. If they look really like conservative, I keep it on the DL, not because I'm ashamed of myself. It's just that I just don't want to deal with it, And when people seem more progressive, I just act myself. I tell them I have a boyfriend, and if they're super cool, I tell them I have another boyfriend.
I gotta admit, like when I first met you, I totally thought you were some straight dude. I think I asked you. Remember, I asked you, how's your girl or how's your girlfriend? And then you're like, I'm gay.
Yeah, I got the frog out.
And I was like, me too, dude. So
yeah, we had a moment.
Yeah, but
crappy place.
I mean, we had another moment. Remember, in like,
because I didn't know you were a trans man.
No,
so that I thought you were just like a gay man, but you're a transgender male, and that surprised me. Which you probably get that a lot. It's like I didn't know. And does that bug you? Does that bug you when people say I didn't know you were a transgender?
Well, I know cis people want to say this as a compliment, but I don't know. Does it bother me? The most common response that I get is, "Wow, I couldn't tell." Like, "Whoa, good job for being stealth." I couldn't tell.
Yeah.
So, is it good to be stealth? I don't know, because it's hard to date. I want to say when you're stealth, because people don't know, like, kind of what they're getting into. But here's what I've done for dating. Like when I date people, I, go on a few dates with them, kind of feel their vibe out.
Yeah.
And then I come out to them.
Yeah.
It really depends on who I'm dating. I've been dating a lot of dudes lately. And traditionally, I date women. I have dated women. I've yet to have a relationship with a man, but it's kind of curious because I was talking to my professor back like when I was still in grad school, and he had told me that 35% of all trans men who undergo the transition turn out being attracted to individuals of the same gender. So like you're assigned female at birth, you transition into a male, and now you're a male, and you're a lot attracted to men.
Yeah.
So that is actually a really high number. 1/3 of trans men being attracted to men.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure why that is. I have my own theories about it, but I think it's interesting that you know, a lot of trans dude. Yeah, go ahead.
And what is your theory, if you don't mind me asking?
Okay, so my theory is that like when you transition into a trans man and you still date a woman, you become straight. You're no longer like traditionally in the gay community anymore. And I think if you have a really strong attachment to the gay community or the queer community, I think you still want to be a part of that LGBTQI whatever, right?
Yeah.
So you know, your tastes change. You're like, I'm attracted to guys, and I'm still in the queer community, and I'm recognized as queer in public. So that's my theory. I'm not sure if it's accurate or not, but that's what I think.
I get it. I mean, I don't know if you've seen this show called Schitt's Creek. Have you heard of that show?
Yes.
Yeah, and David has a good quote in that show. It's like, I like the wine and not the label. He doesn't label himself. He just likes the individual. And if it's male or female or transgender, that that's fine. I think people just like being categorized like objects, which it's not the case. Like human beings, like I mean, I think people should just stop calling themselves straights or gays. We're just here. We just love people, and it shouldn't be a big deal who somebody sleeps with.
I don't know. I want to agree with that really badly.
Yeah,
I really do. But because gay is like being queer is being part of a culture.
Yeah.
So with that label, you don't like just like being Latinx or being Asian is a label. Even though I'm a human being and you should respect me regardless of my race or my choices, it's still a label because there's a culture attached to it. And I think, that's why they have like Asian Heritage Month, Latinx Heritage Month, and they have Gay Pride Month.
Yeah, right? And you are absolutely right. We have like our culture, not everybody knows like the hookup culture, the grinder culture, or like brunch, and all that.
What's that?
Brunch?
Yeah, I don't know what that is.
Oh, you just go to eat in Sunday, Sundays. Sunday morning. Oh, it's not a sexual position or anything. Like, something. Nah, man, like brunch with the mimosas and just chilling with your sandals. Stereotypical gay, I guess. But it's part of the culture that's attached to the LGBTQ community, and doing the drag shows for the cross dressers and all that, and it's part of the culture, and it's very vibrant, and I like it. And what other questions do you have for your book that you want to ask me? Do you have anything else that you wrote out?
I think I'm gonna definitely interview you for as a part from this podcast. But there are a lot of questions. I feel like getting to know everybody's personal life story is really different. Like I interviewed somebody who was in Ohio recently, and he was a transgender individual and was working in a sawmill or one of those sculpture like mill places.
Yeah.
And he was assigned female at birth and transitioning, and didn't realize he was trans until he was 39. So that's very late in the game to kind of realize you're something that you're not. And like about his like struggles about like, because it's a traditionally male workforce.
Yeah.
Right. So, some guys were like, oh yeah, whatever, it doesn't matter. And some guys were like, we're not going to use the same bathroom as you if you're going to be in there. want anything to do with it.
That's
But
right.
luckily, yeah, it sucks. But luckily for him, his boss was like, okay, um, if anybody messes with you, just tell me, and I'll talk
Cool,
to them.
man.
So and that's Ohio, not
Yeah,
California.
yeah.
You know,
I think generally people are pretty chill with gays, because I was in Texas, and the reason that we went to Texas is because we were going to a graduation. We went to A&M. It's like a military university, and a general was giving the commencement speech. And in the end, he says that it doesn't matter if you're gay, straight, transgender, or cis, or whatever. And it took me like, what matters is our freedom, and we're protecting that freedom. We are all under one flag, and he left it like that. And I was really surprised to hear something come out of a general in Texas with a bunch of conservative Christians around me, because they were mostly white people. And to hear that coming from like a high-ranking general meant a lot for me. And I teared up a little bit, because I'm an American. I am proud to be an American. And in any other country, would have been, thrown in jail or murdered or whatever.
headed.
Yeah, beheaded. Yeah, exactly. So a lot of people talk shit about the United States, but I love it. I wouldn't want to live in any other country. Do you feel the same way?
I don't know about that.
I mean, there's definitely problems in this country, but it's not the worst in the world.
I mean, we did just finish, I mean, that transition to Biden. When Trump was elected, I was in grad school at the time, and I was like, I'm so surprised Hillary did not get elected. And my professor, she was like, you know what? I'm not. And I said, why? And she said, that just reveals the underbelly of like American politics, that there are people who are so conservative, so hateful, so angry that they vote for Trump. And I was like, so this has been hidden this whole time? Hey, Bert.
Yeah. Go for it.
So I mean, there's two sides to a coin, and I think that just gave strength to the social justice movement.
Yeah.
I think like when one part is like rebellious and angry, and to this conservative like counterpart, right? So I think it was good because it showed us the truth, and then it showed us it gave us fuel to stand up,
Yeah.
to individuals like that. And I voted for Biden. I don't know about you. I don't know where your politics are.
I mean, I voted for Biden too, but I'm registered as an independent, so I could, you go either or. But I don't usually vote Republican, because they're kind of nuts, and Republicans sort of say the same thing about liberals, because recently I've been watching a lot of conservative podcasts just to hear what they're saying about our community. And I've been listening to Tim Pool and Ben Shapiro, and they're very vocal against. I mean, Ben Shapiro mostly, because he doesn't want critical race theory being taught in school. And I don't. What do you think about that? That people, like kids in the elementary school, are being taught critical race theory. That I guess all white people are the devil. That's what they're saying. So I don't know. What do you stand on kids learning about that? I guess a real history in America. I guess that what that means.
I don't think well, it's a little complicated for me. I don't think kids shouldn't learn, critical race theory, but I also feel that there's like a lot of white fragility and like white shame that's going on.
Yeah.
And like, we're not trying to shame white people. At least I'm not.
Yeah.
My role as a therapist, especially, is to form allies. Let's make allies.
Yeah.
We don't want to, like, we're not fighting against the man. Like, the white person down the street didn't put me in an internment camp. And it's I think it's just learning from our mistakes.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's what it is. Yeah.
Yeah. And I agree. And it's just, if you turn off the media, like if you just talk to your neighbor, it seems like everybody's just kind of chill. It's just like the media paints it that we're separated and we're like in a cold civil war right now is what they're saying, that this country's so divided. But I think if the people just turned off the TV for a whole week, we have a lot of things in common. And what I like about this country is that we're diverse. That I mean, everybody speaks English, but that's not like America is not like, we have different languages in this country, But yeah, what are your thoughts about? This is controversial. Your thoughts about transgender athletes going into the Olympics? Like, should they compete with like a transgender woman? Should they compete like in weightlifting, or like, because I know a lot of people are vocal about that. Like, I know Joe Rogan, he doesn't like that because he said that they grew up, their body mass is mostly like male, I guess, and so they have an advantage on the female weightlifters. And what are your thoughts about transgenders competing in sports?
Well, what about the other way around? Like, like what if a assigned female at birth individual wants to compete in, like, I don't know, pole vaulting? Would they be at a disadvantage because they're competing with people who are biologically men?
I see.
Right. So, but also I think the biology should be like should be this is kind of conservative, but like I think the biology should show whether an individual should be on the same par in competing with people in the Olympics. Mm-hmm. Like if a trans woman has been on estrogen for, I don't know, 5 years, I mean, she's lost a lot of her muscle mass. She's lost a lot of, like,
I see what you're saying.
Right. And so I think that's okay. To me, that's okay.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's okay too. But I hate sports, so I don't. It's like people should just watch TV. Let's see. Going back to the book that you're writing, have you written anything, or are you just cultivating stories right now before you sit down and write? And when do you project your first draft to be done?
Well, I wanted to write it before the end of the year, but I think that it's going to have to wait because my work is taking up most of my time. So I'm going to probably on the weekends try to interview, some people. And I, to be honest, I've been dropping the ball on that.
Well, I mean, it's hard to get motivated. My writing, because I sit down in a desk for like 9 hours. So like the last thing I want to do when I come home is to sit down and write. So my writing sessions are on Friday and Saturday, and so the rest of the week I just take handle business. But I do set some time aside. It's very hard to get yourself motivated sometimes. You have to kind of like drag yourself to sit down and write anything. And it takes me at least about an hour or two to finally get into the groove of whatever I'm working at. As a story. But I don't know what's your method of getting motivated. Do you have a method?
Have you heard of the 1% minimum rule?
Nah.
I might be saying it wrong, but it's just like making the most minimal effort as possible, but at least you're doing something. Like if you're writing a dissertation, just write at least one sentence per day. Mm-hmm. Or if you want to go to the gym, but go like exercise for like 2 minutes and go home. So it's just kind of like snowballing.
Getting yourself,
exactly, getting yourself motivated. So I've been trying to at least write one sentence per day. So
that's cool. That's good. That's good, man. That's a good way of thinking it. It's a snowball effect, and who knows? Once you start with that sentence, you might you just continue writing it. It doesn't have to be that single sentence. Just keep on going.
I mean, if I had $1 million, I'd be writing all the time.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. Like I know. I had a one-on-one with my boss, and he asked me, it's like, what's one of the reasons you would quit this job? And I said, it's like, well, if somebody gave me like $100,000 and, I would just stay home and write. It's like, oh, you're a writer. I'm like, yeah. It's like, cool, because we need somebody to write these standard operating procedures. I'm like, God damn it. It's like, see, this is why I don't. That's why I don't tell people what I do. It's like it's not the same thing because I'm writing like radio instructions. It's not. I'm not writing a cute little story for them. I'm writing like a manual. It's not the same thing.
Oh, boo.
Yeah. He hasn't said anything yet, and I'm not saying anything. So,
no
but
more.
yeah. So now I'm all like, oh, I don't. Again, I don't tell the bosses what I do. But yeah, like, okay, let's.
Sorry about that.
Let's talk about your coming out story. Like, how did you come out to your parents about being a transgender male? Were they heartbroken because they wanted you to have like, I mean, you can still have kids, but like, parents have an idea of what they want their kids to become as adults. And when you tell them that you're gay, it destroys their narrative for you. Did that happen? Were your parents pretty cool about you?
Well, actually, I came out like before trans was even a thing.
Mm-hmm.
I came out when I was 13, so that's like over 23 years ago. I was 13, and I told, I come from a kind of violent background. My father was just a really abusive individual, and after beating me up one night, and it wasn't because he was an alcoholic or anything. He was just a really angry immigrant, who wanted to succeed, and and I think I got a B or a C on one of my tests, and he just got really angry and he took it out. He just like, why aren't you getting an A? We worked so hard for you, blah blah blah. So after one beating, and I was like, Dad, I want to be a guy, a boy. And it was really weird because the next morning he's like, my son, my son, and I was like, did he just say that to me?
Yeah.
So some time passes, and I come out as a lesbian. So I'm a lesbian at age 16. I'm in foster care by now because I called the cops on my dad. Mm-hmm. So was in foster care, was bullied a lot. I lived with women at the time because I identified as female, but new law in California allows trans kids to live with their identified gender. So like, if a young woman identifies as a trans male, she gets to be housed with other males. So that's the California law,
Cool.
But that didn't happen for me. But because I was scared, I don't know these dudes. Some of these dudes are coming from juvie. I don't know. I don't want to, I was fighting with the ladies, so I don't know what it would have been like with the dudes,
Yeah, it's super sketchy, huh?
Yeah. So I got my first real girlfriend when I went into college. I went to Cal State Fullerton on a full scholarship for foster care. Yeah. And I broke up with her when I was 21. We almost got married. She was a trust fund baby. She's working in Hollywood now. She as a casting associate, actually.
Oh shit!
With her wife. So she's doing that, and we broke up at 21. And she's like, "Baby, I don't think I could be with somebody who is trans, or no, who I can't be with a guy. I just can't do it." And she cried. And this is kind of a big issue because, like, my friend, I hooked her up with another mutual friend of ours, and this mutual friend wanted to transition. And because of his identity, because of his religion, and because of his relationship with his partner, he wanted to transition, but he couldn't because she's like, I don't know if I want to be with a guy. I'm gonna have to break up with you. So that's a lot of things that trans people face because they go into a relationship as one gender, and then having that partner needing to adapt, to shifts in reality. I mean, there are stories out there that some people make it. You read Time magazine about, this guy who transitioned, who was a straight guy, and transitioned into a female, and his wife stayed with him.
Yeah.
His wife stayed with her.
Yes.
So, it
Yeah. That I
happened.
mean that.
You
Yeah,
know,
it didn't. Unfortunately, it didn't happen with Elliot Page because he broke up with his, or they broke up because it was a lesbian couple, and I think a few months after Elliot came out as transgender, they broke up, and it probably had something to do with that because the his girlfriend wanted to be with a girl, not with a man. So I'm probably pretty sure that's what happened with Elliot Page. And what do you think about kids taking like kids transitioning, like getting blockers and all that? Are you okay with that, or do you think they need to turn 18 or 21 to start transitioning into their gender?
it's hard to say, but I'm really not a gatekeeper, even though a lot of therapists want to be gatekeepers. So WPATH says that you can transition, you can get hormones, um, um, without a permission
Oh
from
wow, very
a
fair.
therapist. A
Oh,
therapist.
therapist. Okay.
So, because when I was transitioning, I needed 3 months worth of therapy before I got the sign off,
Yeah.
so I could get hormones. But WPATH changed that, so you don't need a therapist's approval anymore. You just need a willing doctor. Now, I don't. Best practices is that you actually do get therapy, so they sign off. So you're for sure.
Mhm.
You know, because I remember I had a client who was young man wanted to transition into womanhood, and I I just didn't it didn't feel right for me.
Yeah.
I just couldn't sign off.
Oh wow.
But she really wanted to transition into a woman,
Mhm.
and I just couldn't do it. If it was somebody else, maybe we could have talked about it a little more, because the mom was really worried, and she was like, this is irreversible. I
Mhm.
want my child to be sure.
Yeah.
And it's hard, but because I don't want to be a gatekeeper. So
But you
again,
have the experience, you could, that's your job though, so you shouldn't feel bad.
I do feel bad.
Oh, wow.
I do feel bad because it's like giving you the keys to a really difficult decision,
Yeah.
and like I shouldn't have those keys.
Mm.
you know and an individual should be able to make whatever decision with the right kind of doctor, but a lot of doctors won't prescribe you hormones
Mhm.
unless you've signed off on through a therapist.
So you want people to go through therapy first before they start transitioning to make sure, or do you think they should just transition as soon as they feel, that they want to, want to do that?
Well, I don't think we should be so reckless with things that are kind of irreversible.
Yeah.
And my preference is that they go through therapy, because you know what? I gotta be honest with you. I lived in Hawaii for a number of years, and I lived in an environment that was accepting of all genders. There was no gender roles and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And in my travels in Hawaii, I was like, I didn't really have to transition. Like, it didn't really have to happen. But now that I'm back in society where I'm not living in a hippie community,
Yeah.
it's like, yeah, I transition, and like I'm gonna go through it. But when I
I
was in
see.
Hawaii, like, it's the
Didn't have.
environment,
Yeah.
society. It's not that like I had to, if I was living in like, I don't know, like I don't know, in a commune, or like maybe if I grew up in Berkeley,
Yeah.
you know, things would have been different.
Sure.
But I think if we can blur those boundaries about strict, expectations and societal norms, I think people would think twice about transitioning, and people wouldn't bat their eyes about, people being gay, or like,
Yeah.
if I wanted to wear, go and drag or whatever,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah.
So I think the more flexible and adaptable society is to people's expressions, you know,
Mhm.
um, I think less people would do something so drastic, because medically transition is no joke.
Mhm.
You know, having
Yeah,
your
it's
body,
irreversible.
yeah,
Irreversible. Yeah. Because
irreversible.
I met a person where they were transitioning to a male, but they stopped, and they got their breast removed. So now she's walking around. Like, she's a lesbian, but she doesn't have breasts anymore. So people when they're transitioning do realize that it's not for them, or they made a mistake. And I even have a transgender friend who agrees too, because she's met some people who started transitioning and they have like a deep voice, like a female transition to a male, but they stopped it. So now they sound like smokers, and you know what I mean. Yeah, I understand why the protocols of going talking to somebody and working it out mentally before you do it, because you just can't come back from that. So I understand, and I think it's good for people to talk it out. Yeah.
Mhm.
I was doing research for our show today, and I saw this statistic graph that I'm going to read out. This is from the Mental Health America, and it
Mhm.
says 4.5 of the U.S. population identifies as lesbian, gay, or bisexuals. Of those, over 39% reported having a mental illness in the past year. That is nearly 5.8 million people, more than the entire population of Kentucky. So that's a lot of people in our community who have struggling with a mental illness,
Mhm.
and it has to do with like their backgrounds and not being accepted, and their communities. It's not this kind, like, not everywhere is Los Angeles, or you know what I mean. Not every Our state's not completely blue. So I feel for those kids that get bullied from their parents. I'm like, damn, this is your mom and dad, somebody that you go to when you're getting bullied. So my heart breaks out to those kids who are struggling with their sexuality. I don't know. I wish I could buy them. Like, I wish there was like a place where these runaways could go instead of living on the streets. And I don't know. It's a bummer.
Larkin Street, San Francisco.
Yeah. What's that?
Larkin Street is a shelter for gay homeless kids. Larrikan, or Kin. I'm
Yeah.
not sure. Um, but they, like, they accept a lot of kids from the Midwest, actually.
Oh,
So
cool.
a lot of kids are coming on their bus, getting kicked out of their homes, and
Mhm.
going to the gay mecca, San Francisco, and and they're finding there are shelters available here in
Mhm.
San Francisco for individuals who need help. And there's also, I want to mention, the Trevor Project. Are you familiar
Okay.
with that?
The Trevor Project. That wasn't that like a short film, and then they made like a prop. I don't know. Can you explain it to me? Because I don't want to say the wrong thing, but it seemed like I sort of know what you're talking about. But please explain it to me.
So that's the Laramie Project about Matthew Shepard.
Mhm.
But the Trevor Project is actually like a gay suicide hotline
Mhm.
for youth.
Okay.
So I don't know if you want to blast like the Trevor Project's like number on the end of your podcast, because that's
Yeah.
really important. I think that might be important. And so they have people who are peers who are older, so like older queer individuals, like maybe in their 20s, on this hotline, who people who are, I think, at ages between like 12 to 17, maybe 18, call in if they're feeling suicidal,
Yeah. Yeah.
and
I have it up right here, and the
yeah,
number is they're open 24/7, like their number, and it's 1-866-488-7386. So if somebody's struggling with their mental issue, part of the LGBT community, that's the number to hit up 24/7.
yep,
So yeah,
yep,
there you go. Thank you for letting us know about that.
yep.
And what were you saying before I cut you off?
I forgot.
I know. I shit, man. But I'm really glad that there are resources now
Yeah.
for people to get help, because like 20, 30 years ago there wasn't resources like this. You had to come to California or New York to go to get those services. So now I'm glad that we live in the 21st century, and we have the internet, and we get to read memes and look at me look, look at YouTube stuff. But
Actually, I want to add that I think the YouTube community is actually a really good community for people who are coming out who don't know a lot of people, because there are a lot of trans people and a lot of queer people who share their lives and their stories on YouTube. And I think for me, when I wasn't meeting a lot of trans people, I went on YouTube and I was like, oh, friends,
oh yeah,
Yeah.
the community, instead of just being
Exactly.
like tucked
Yeah.
away somewhere. That's really
Yeah.
cool, man. I wish I had that in high school. I really envy the kids today, man. Like in high school, oh my god, oh my goodness,
We got it
I
so
was
good.
brutal. Oh Jesus Christ. But yeah, like now, like in Norwalk, I found out that they have like a LGBTQ center for, I was like, that's great. We didn't have that. We barely had drama class when I was there. So progress, right? So tell me, like, are you currently dating anybody right now? Are you seeking, or are you just kind of like doing your own thing?
I am on Talkify, and I'm not about to pay $5,000 a month just to get a date. But I'm on the other end of that,
Yeah.
which is there's like a pool of people, and then like these matchmakers for these clients that you can pick who pay $5,000 can
Damn.
pick choose out of this pool. And I just recently got an interview with one of the matchmakers, and she's like, oh, there's this like really wonderful girl I want to set you up with, this young lady who is in a whoever, like,
Yeah.
because at first when I was on Talkify, I didn't identify as trans, but then I was like, you know what, this is cool, I'm getting set up on dates, but maybe I should identify as trans. So there's no mystery, there's full transparency.
Yeah, absolutely. And is there anything else that you want to ask me before I get? Because like I don't know if you watched my shows before, my prior shows, but I end the show by doing like a top 7 of the topic, and sometimes they're funny, but sometimes they're just like things that we could talk about until we reach number 1. But before I do that, do you have anything else that you want to ask me before I jump into that?
Not at the moment.
It could be personal. I don't care.
I don't have anything to ask. I'm just really jelly of your like Hawaiian shirt.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, everybody likes this shirt. I only wear it like on special occasions because I don't want it to get faded. When you wash the shirt too much and then the color fades away. So I only use it when I'm, I guess performing. But yeah, I dig this shirt. This is my thing now. I'm trying to get this other shirt. It's like an avocado and tacos, like the same color. Because I'm Mexican. Yeah, but it's kind of expensive though. I'm like, I don't think I want to pay $50 for that shirt. I'll just exactly. I'm like, I could probably find like a similar shirt eventually at TJ Maxx for like what, $7. So I'll just wait. But yeah, with that said, let's jump into the top 7.
Okay.
So today's top 7, since we're talking about queer issues, 7 things straight people need to stop asking the LGBTQ community. So with number 7, how we get down in the bedroom. People are always curious how things work. When they come out, they always ask you like, how, like, are you the bottom? Are you the top? I mean, like when you talk to your straight friends, I'm like, well, how does your wife like it? Did she like it behind? Did you like the front? You know what I mean? It's odd. Like, you don't ask that. It's inappropriate.
Yeah, it is inappropriate. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think it's because a lot of people see us as commodities, or like a novelty. You know what I mean? Like things that you could have. Oh, it's my gay best friend. And we're objects to them. To the breeders. What do you think about that? Am I accurate?
I mean, it is a trifling thing to like, for a long time I didn't have any like people of color friends. All my friends were white, and I'm like, I am just your token Asian, like, you know, and I think that's the same way for being gay too. Like, being a token, I mean, it's fun for a second, and then you're like, where are all the gays? Where everybody? Yeah.
Yeah, I know what you mean. I'm really glad that I work in a place where there are other gay people in the office. It's just not me. So that's really cool. Because I used to, like, long ago, I used to work out of warehouses, and all the guys are probably like on the DL, and they had chicks. It's that kind of a community that I used to work for, working at warehouses. So there weren't any gay people, so I never came out to them because I didn't want to get beat up. So so I'm like, I'm glad that I work at a company that likes diversity. They thrive on it. So,
right on.
So anyways, okay. Number 6. I would never would have guessed that you're gay, which is something that you said to me.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
I said that to you too. I'm like, I didn't know you're a transgender, so we're both guilty, don't you think? Yeah. But that happens a lot, and that doesn't really. That doesn't bug me too much because I think people just watch because we're influenced by what we watch, and what people watch is like the overly flamboyant gay guy, which is not me. It's not because it's I have anything against it. It's just I like keeping a low profile.
Okay, you know what? It wasn't even that. Here, check it out. I pride myself on being one of those people with excellent gaydar. And like, at my new job, one of the supervisors is gay, and he looked at me, and like when I first met him, like we just had this like silent understanding, right? We looked at each other, and I was like, "Oh yeah, you a mo," and he's like, "Yeah, you a mo too." So, and I didn't get that vibe from you, Christian.
Really?
Really weird.
Yeah, I have a friend. It's really weird because my friend Art, he's watching right now, and I have another friend, Manuel. I had these 2 friends in elementary school, my 2 best friends, and we all turned out to be gay. Like in the future, like now, like we all have partners, and we thought that was very strange. And one of my friend Manuel, recently said that he never thought that was gay, like in high school, like because I didn't project that. And I said the same thing about him because he didn't, we didn't show ourselves like that. So I just found it very strange that my friends in elementary school, we all turned out to be queer.
Yeah.
So what was that all about?
Cool.
Yeah, that's really cool though. But anyways, okay. Number 5. Who pays on dates? Do you ever get that? People ask you like how the dating thing works.
No,
because I usually go Dutch.
Yeah, I go Dutch too.
Yeah. I'm like, let's pay in half because I'm not a fucking millionaire, The struggle's real, man.
Yeah, the struggle's real. I ain't no Daddy Warbucks. I'm just let's go Dutch, man.
Not yet though. That's the
not yet.
But yeah, I don't know. I never asked. What do you think about like the male always paying like in the dates? Is that like dated now? Is that antiquated for the guy to pay like a straight guy to pay for the date on the first date?
Well, I do think that way because I was on a date with a girl and we were at this expensive sushi place and I was like, are we going Dutch? And she's like, no, not on the first date. I never dated her again. I'm saying it,
like next.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you. Next. Yeah.
Swipe left.
That's
okay. Right. All right. Number 4. You should know. Okay. You should know this. Insert. Okay. I got it. You should know this. Insert reference. You're gay because being gay. You should know like all the tropes of being being in the gay community. The Gucci, the style, like the famous drag queen, which I don't know. Alex knows. He watches the drag shows all the time. He's into that stuff. So I don't know too much. My sister-in-law called me a boring gay. It's like, oh, he's a boring gay. I'm like, oh, okay, well, whatever.
Well, recently, someone asked me if I knew that John Travolta and Tom Cruise were gay, and I was like, what? I was like, is this for real or speculation?
Yeah. No, I heard stories. I don't know. John Travolta, I did hear stories that males, other guys met John Travolta like at a bathhouse in Hollywood, and it was John Travolta or like a masseuse getting a happy ending,
Yeah.
from John Travolta or whatever. I did hear a lot of stories about John Travolta being like on the down low, and I didn't hear too much about Tom Cruise, like his private stuff. But I think it's because they're both Scientologists, so they keep all that stuff hidden. So
is it real or is it speculation? That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. I mean, I don't have proof, but I do suspect that John Travolta is gay. I don't know about Tom Cruise. Maybe he's just a weird guy. Yeah. But I did hear that. You never heard that before? Those rumors that John Travolta and Tom Cruise were gay?
Yeah, I heard, but they're just rumors.
Rumors, yeah.
Yeah, but they were saying it as if it was fact, and I'm like, it's not fact, it's speculation.
Yeah.
Don't say it to me as if like it was true.
Yeah. Yeah, like it's Liberace, right? Liberace, no?
Oh yeah.
Like I mean, wasn't it crazy that a lot of chicks thought that he was straight and he came out all flamboyant, he's all and it was like they were shocked that they were gay, that he was gay. I thought that was really funny. Did you watch that movie, the Behind the Candelabra? Behind the Candelabra? But it's like Michael Douglas played Liberace.
No.
That was a really good movie, man. You should check it out. It's an HBO movie. You did a great job. Yeah. You did a really great job. But anyways, okay, number 3. You're my new gay best friend. Because again, we're like novelties. Commodities, We're not people. You're my new gay best friend. Do you get that a lot? Do you get that?
You're my new trans friend. You're my new you're my new gay friend. You're my new queer friend. Let me
show you off
the Rolex or a handbag. I'm not a handbag.
Yeah. But you get that too, right? You got that before?
Yeah, it was really weird. I came out to some people and people were like, "Oh, I'm so happy. Now I have a trans friend. Now I know somebody who's trans." And I was like,
that's not why I came out. Yeah. People need to stop doing that, But well, anyways. Number 2. Are you sure you're gay? Which I got that in the beginning, because people always want to. It's like, are you sure? Are you sure? Did you get that? Like, I'm sure like everybody's gotten that question. Are you sure that you're gay?
Oh, actually, I've never gotten that before. Never.
Yeah, I did like when I was like a kid because I came out of the closet not because I told my parents. My mom, she was cleaning my room. Because that's what Mexican moms do. They like to clean. And she found some printouts that I had tucked under my bed. Like, I had to struggle to pull it out. So she was looking for something. So she did find what she was. She did find. She found my printouts. She confronted me after school on the 10th grade, and she asked me, "It's like, Christian, come over here." And then I went in there, and she showed me the printouts that she had, and my heart sunk. And he's like, "What are these?" And that's how I came out. It's like, "Well, Mom, I'm gay." I'm like, "There's no way hiding it now, Mm-hmm. And it's like she was emotional. I was like, "Are you sure you're gay? You're so young." Because I was 16 years old, and I told her, "Yeah, I'm pretty sure."
How did she
I got that. It? She took it because she was for a while. She thought that I was confused. It was just a phase, She didn't want me to get hurt because like it was already hard enough being like a minority. Now you're tacking on being gay. That's like going to be like super hard. And that's like 20 years ago. We were like, this was like in the late 90s, 1999, I think. So it was still like the country still did in that world where like it was a taboo, It wasn't everywhere. Like it was like in the underbelly, She didn't want that for me. She was worried that I was going to get AIDS and STDs and I was going to get used and all that stuff. And I told her, like, Mom, I was 16 when this happened. And I told my mom, I was like, Mom, I'm so virgin. That stuff only happens when you're cool. No, like as in like getting laid,
Sure.
Yeah. But yeah, what were you going to ask?
How old are you now?
I'm going to be 38.
38. That's still very young.
Yeah, still pretty young, but I'm not confused. But she's cool with it now. My parents are both cool. They're when I had when I was with my ex, I got married in behind my mom's house in the backyard, and we had like this big party. So, they were accepting and all that, and my grandparents even came to my gay wedding that only lasted a year. And then, yeah, I'm very fortunate to have a supporting family, because other families they wouldn't have done that. No son of mine.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was getting a lot of that day when I got married. I was getting like a lot of signals that it wasn't gonna turn out well, because like the pastor, his car broke down on the way to the wedding, so I had to go pick him up. I'm like, is this a sign? Is this a sign? And it was a sign. But anyways, enough of that. So okay, number one, we made it to number one. Number one, number one thing straights need to stop asking gays: who's the man and who's the woman? And that one kind of bugs me. You get that. I get that a lot.
That's like who's the top, who's the bottom, right?
Yeah. Because like I usually cook and clean, and I've been told, it's like, oh, so you're the bitch in the relationship. It's like, I'm not a bitch. I'm not a girl. I'm like, that's yeah, exactly. Yeah. I'm like, no, I like living in a clean house, and we got to eat, so I'm gonna cook. It's not a gender role. It's being independent.
That's what I'm talking about. Society in generals, man.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't get it. And I mean, John, he's my handyman. Like he fixes the car. He hangs stuff up for me, because I'm a short guy and I'm kind of clumsy. So we have our we help each other out that way. But yeah, it bugs me when people ask me who's the wife and who's the girl, who's the man, and it's like, well, we're both men, But yeah, that's one of the things that irks me when I get asked.
You should just tell them I'm the Christian, okay?
I'm the Christian. Yeah, I'm the Christian. Even though I was raised, even though I was raised Catholic. But let's see. Before we go, is there anything that you want to plug? Like what's your Instagram or your Facebook if people want to follow you?
You can follow me on AJ Yang on Facebook. That's just AJ, and then Yang is spelled YANG. I should use my Instagram more, but I don't. So working on it. Work in progress.
Work in progress, man. You should get on TikTok. It's very addicting.
I should. I gotta tell you, my battery is about to die. It's saying.
Okay, I'll wrap it up. But the next time I'd like to have you on the show is when you complete your book, so we could talk about it.
Sounds good.
Yeah, man. Well, thank you, Wesley, for joining us today. I'll talk to you next time, and give me a call so we could, if you have any more questions that you want to ask me, just hit me up. I'm always free.
All right.
I'll talk to you later, man.
All right. Ciao.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
All right. Well, that's our show, guys. Thank you for watching Casually Christian. And if you guys want to produce your own podcast, please hit up my friend Emmanuel at his company, Livestream My Event. He'll hook you up in the same way, but in this setup. So until next time, I'll see you in 2 weeks. So have a good Saturday and have a great week. Bye, guys.